Questions 25 through 29. Listen to a teacher talking in a science class.
Look up here, everyone, and you'll see some lovely images of sand dunes. These pictures were taken in various locations. Some were taken on beaches and on the banks of lakes. Others were taken in deserts. Can anyone guess how sand dunes are formed? Yes, Tom?
They're formed when the wind carries sand.
That's a large part of it, yes. There are actually 3 factors that contribute to the forming of sand dunes. First, there must be a large amount of sand that is not held down by plants and trees. In other words, if there are too many trees, then sand dunes won't form in that area. You see, the roots of trees hold the sand in place so the wind can't pick it up and carry it away. And that brings us to the second factor, which Tom mentioned, the wind. In order for sand dunes to form, the wind has to be strong enough to pick up the sand and carry it away. It takes a lot of sand to form a sand dune, and it's the wind that brings the sand. The final factor is this. Once the sand is moving, remember, it's being carried by the wind. There must be some object that eventually stops it. Something on which the sand will gather or collect. Yes, Tom?
What kind of object stops the sand? I mean, there aren't very many large things in the desert, right?
Well, it could be anything. It could be something small in a desert, like a stone.
Now answer the questions. Number 25. What is the teacher mainly talking about? Number 26. According to the teacher, how do trees keep sand dunes from forming? Number 27. Why must the wind be strong in order for sand dunes to form? Number 28. Why must there be an object in order for a sand dune to form? Number 29. Why does the teacher mention a stone? Questions 30 through 33. Listen to a teacher talking in a social studies class.
Let's keep talking about gender roles. Let me remind you what gender roles are. Here's a kind of formal definition. Gender roles are beliefs or expectations people have about men and women and about how men and women should look or behave. Can anybody think of a belief that people have about how men and women should behave in our society? Yes, Emily?
People think it's okay for a woman to cry, but men aren't supposed to cry.
That's a good example and a common belief. Now, let's think about gender roles in the classroom, specifically grades. Do people believe that boys and girls should get the same grades in school?
No, not really. Boys are supposed to get better grades in math than girls do.
Right. That is a common belief based on gender roles. But is it true? That's the question. In the 1990s, SAT scores showed that boys did do better than girls in math. But a recent study found that SAT scores in math for boys and girls in the U.S. are now very similar. What do you think this tells us about gender roles?
Maybe people's beliefs about gender roles are not always right, and we shouldn't always believe them.
That's right. In fact, that may be the exact reason why girls now seem to be as good as boys in math. Some teachers, including me, believe that girls' math scores have improved because they have become more confident in their ability to do well in math. In other words, they've ignored gender roles and the common belief that boys do better in math than girls do.
Now answer the questions. Number 30. What is the discussion mainly about? Number 31. What is one belief based on gender roles about boys and girls? Number 32. Why does the teacher mention SAT scores? Number 33. According to the teacher, why have girls' math scores improved? Questions 34 through 38. Listen to a teacher talking in an American history class.
I want everyone to look up at the flag for a moment. There are 50 white stars and 13 red and white stripes. The 13 stripes represent the original 13 colonies in this country. It was these 13 colonies that joined together to fight the British in the War of Independence. So, what made the colonies angry enough to want to fight a war against the British? Let's talk about that for a minute. The 13 colonies were ruled by the British government, but the British government started to deal with the colonies unfairly. How? Well, one way was by passing a tax law in 1765, known as the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act made colonists buy tax stamps and put them on things like letters, newspapers, and contracts. The money the British government made by doing this helped to pay for military expenses in America. What made the colonies angry was that they had no say in the passing of the law. In other words, the British government passed the law without even talking to the colonies first. Strong opposition to the law forced the British government to throw out the Stamp Act in 1766. Another tax law that the colonists strongly opposed was the Townshend Acts. This law taxed imported goods that colonists needed, like paint, paper, and tea. We call these essential goods. So, of course, the Townshend Acts made the colonists very angry, and the tax indirectly led to the Boston Massacre. You see, when a group of colonists gathered to oppose the import tax, British soldiers shot at them. Only 5 people actually died, but shortly after that, the colonists were ready to go to war against the British.
Now answer the questions. Number 34. What is the purpose of the talk? Number 35. Why does the teacher talk about the American flag? Number 36. According to the teacher, why were the colonists angry about the Stamp Act? Number 37. Why were the colonists angry about the Townshend Acts? Number 38. What will the teacher probably talk about next? Questions 39 through 42. Listen to a teacher talking in health class.
A lot of kids worry about being overweight. Today, there are more overweight kids in the United States than ever before. It is estimated that 1 out of 3 is overweight. Being overweight is more than just being heavy. When you are overweight, you have too much body fat. Too much body fat can cause health problems like diabetes and high blood pressure, which we usually think of as adult health problems. Also, too much body fat can make kids feel depressed about their looks. So, why are so many kids overweight? There are basically 2 reasons: lifestyle and diet. Let's start with lifestyle. Most kids these days spend too much time playing video games and watching TV. On top of that, they don't usually exercise as much as they should. Now, what about diet? Many kids eat too much unhealthy food, like French fries, ice cream, and donuts. So how can you kids keep yourselves from becoming overweight? It's actually quite simple. Change your lifestyle and your diet. First, change your lifestyle by getting out of the house more. Become more active. You know, exercise can often be fun. Play some sports or go swimming. or go biking or skating. Even just playing outside with friends is a good way to keep from becoming overweight. Second, you need to change your diet. It's okay to eat foods like potato chips and ice cream sometimes, but only if you're eating a lot of healthy food as well. Eat healthy food like fruit, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. Instead of soda, try drinking juice, water, or milk. Doing these things will help keep you from becoming overweight.
Now answer the questions. Number 39. What is the danger of having too much body fat? Number 40. Why does the teacher mention video games and TV? Number 41. According to the teacher, how can kids change their lifestyle? Number 42. According to the teacher, when is it sometimes okay to eat unhealthy food?